going through puberty seizure thing.
Yeah, it was new. Heard of it? Well, they called it focal seizures because you're not completely, what do you call it when you're not unconscious when it happens.
Yeah, like a grand mal.
Yeah, it's even worse because you can kind of experience it and see it in that.
Wow.
You're temporarily blind after, like, it's bad.
Oh,
if you think this conversation's depressing, you should hear
the
full post-show or pre-show.
Well, it all turned out good in her case.
You never know what you're going to get.
That's true. That's good.
Sometimes it's fun.
That's right.
Sometimes it's about sandwiches.
Right.
Sometimes it's about death.
Right. Just happens. Check out our bonus show for a real pick me up.
It was a good show.
It was. You're absolutely right. I agree.
Listen, we're serious if anything else when it comes to many of these topics. Not all of them, but many of them.
We were just going with the flow.
Yeah, flow go.
Right, like enjoying our Kersey.
Right. Boy, really digging up the old Olympic references there. Like it.
Yeah. Well, she was from East St. Louis, so I think she was from the St. Louis area for sure.
Heroes.
Well. I hope you're all satisfied.
Yeah.
We've gathered here.
I hope you're happy.
I hope you're happy. We're doing this just for you.
On a Wednesday.
Right? A day that everyone else also works.
Right. Midday on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Here we are working.
For you.
For you.
All right, I'm ready to go if you guys are.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, do you want to try what our lineup has always said we should do, but we've never done, Sarah? Which is, since you're doing the discussion story, you should read to get all the tech headlines each day.
Oh, okay.
And then just take us right into the discussion story.
Of course. I'd be happy to.
Yay!
Hey.
The promise of our December dinner has been fulfilled. All right.
Watch and be amazed, everyone.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Here we go. 3, 2. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. Talking to you. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, February 28th, 2018, from DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And the last day of February, from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
From the very cold, and I wish it would stop snowing, Salt Lake City, I'm Scott Johnson.
Happy birthday to everyone whose birthday is February 28th and 29th.
Whoa.
Just go ahead and take care of that because we don't have a 29th this year.
I never thought about that. What do those people do? How do they celebrate?
They're 4 years old when the rest of us are 24.
Exactly. That's what happens, or something like that. I think that math might be
something mystical happens. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. At midnight on the 28th before March 1st, an accelerated 29th happens.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So for a quick couple of minutes, it's the best.
It's a wrinkle in the calendar.
Yeah. It's my favorite.
In theaters soon. That was our producer, Roger Chang, speaking there just a moment ago. How are you, Roger?
Still here.
Good. Very glad to hear it. Well, there's nothing left for us to do than start with a few tech things you should know.
Vodafone and Nokia announced they are working to provide 4G connectivity to robots on the moon for a group called PT Scientists. SpaceX will launch 2 lunar rovers made by Audi, which will explore and transmit HD video from the Apollo 17 landing site. The 4G network will be used to stream video from the robots to a stationary transmitter that will broadcast back to Earth.
We're robots on the moon. We sing a happy
I'm like, how is that real? I love that.
So cool. Think about it. If you ever get stranded up there, it's less of a Martian problem, like in the book The Martian or the movie. You can just start tapping into the 4G that's already part of the lunar surface. It'll be amazing. Businesses in 40 countries will now be able to post job openings on Facebook to a jobs tab on their page, jobs dashboard, Facebook Marketplace, and the news feed. Job seekers can also autofill applications with their Facebook profile info and submit it as well as use Messenger to schedule interviews. The feature rolled out in the US and Canada last year. I had completely forgotten about it, but well done, 40 new countries, I guess.
Starting on April 1st, and this is no joke, all the apps in the BlackBerry World App Store will be free. BlackBerry will remove paid apps from the store on that date. Developers can still monetize their apps, but they have to build all that into the app itself.
Spotify filed its IPO today. The company plans to use a direct listing instead of a traditional IPO route. So no bank is listed as an underwriter, although Morgan Stanley is serving as a financial advisor. This also makes the $1 billion number subject to change. It's kind of, it's a little bit of the Wild West going on here. Tencent is the only shareholder restricted from selling shares once Spotify lists. CEO Daniel Ek has 25.7 ordinary shares. Tencent has 7.5%. Tiger Global, 6.9. Sony Music, 5.7. And Technology Crossover Ventures, 5.4. Europe is still Spotify's largest market, representing 37% of total user base.
Let's talk a little more about skiing and snow sports and the Apple Watch.
You want to hear about skiing, do you? Well, let me tell you about skiing. First of all, I think Tencent's going to own everything, including skiing one day. But anyway, Apple Watch ski and snowboard apps like Snow, that's a 2 W's, Slopes, Squall Alpine, Snow Crew, and Ski Tracks have all been updated with custom workout APIs released in Watch OS 4.2. Now, this update allows tracking of specialized metrics such as and including total vertical descent, horizontal distance, number of runs, and average and maximum speeds, all on the heels of the Winter Olympics. The ski and the snowboard tracking is limited to Apple Watch Series 3, the one with the little dot, or maybe that's only because I get cellular on there. I don't know. But anyway, ski and snowboarding apps are the only, or they're not going to work anywhere but the Series 3. That's because it's the only watch with a built-in altimeter to track elevation.
Why didn't they have this for the Winter Olympics? They should have had all the snowboarders and ski jumpers and everybody wearing this.
3 weeks too late.
Yeah.
Honestly, it does feel like they were maybe just a little too late. Who knows why? But that would have been a perfect promotion. They ran some ads during the Olympics. These would have been great ads. So I don't know what happened there. Somebody dropped the ball.
Well, speaking of smartwatches, Fitbit teased a new smartwatch on its latest investors call, and Wearable.com, which is, by the way, spelled W-A-R-E, Wearable has obtained photos of what it says is the new Fitbit Blaze 2, although we don't know if it's actually going to be called the Blaze 2, but that's what we're calling it until Fitbit tells us otherwise. A source tells Wearables that Fitbit wants a watch that appeals more to the female market, unlike its large Ionic watch, and something that has a lower price point as well. The watch will be water resistant up to 50 meters, come in 4 colors, black, silver, rose gold, and charcoal, with a range of straps, according to the sources. So this is leaks, not confirmations, except that Fitbit has confirmed that they're coming with a new watch, so it's likely this is it, Scott. I know you're fascinated by this.
I am, and having just bought the Series 3, and prior to this having a Fitbit Charge and enjoying it, loving it, I really liked it, but I thought, all right, we're going to move on to full-blown smartwatch town and see how that treats me. Honestly, whatever my next step is as a wearable, I'd be looking for a lower price because it turns out the functionality I mainly use this watch for is telling time, quick reference to notifications, and fitness stuff. And Fitbit, of course, excelling in that third category. So I'm interested in this. What I'm curious about, Sarah, from your perspective, does this appeal to a more female sensibility, or is that a bunch of
okay, so thank you for asking. The funny thing is that whenever I hear and appealing to the female audience because it's going to be smaller and cheaper, I'm like, excuse you. But I mean, with somebody with a small wrist, it's like, well, that makes sense. The Ionic also didn't sell that well as far as Fitbit is concerned. So in that sense, it's like, it's not so much that they're like, well, we just want to break into another audience. They're trying to sell more, watches. I don't swim, so I don't really care about that. But the whole sort of it's not water resistant. You could actually swim at the gym back and forth, to 50 meters and it would still work. Cause that's pretty cool. I'm sure that will, appeal to certain folks, but But yeah, I don't know, man. Depending on the price point, I could be interested.
Yeah, Fitbit's good with the fitness. I'm not sure how good they are with the health yet, and that's the other thing that I use a watch for. So,
good point. I would probably miss things like voice activated replies to text and things like that. So there's a few things like that, but they have my ear. We'll see.
All right. Or your wrist.
Yeah, or my wrist.
Speaking of talking, Google's Hangouts Chat is out of preview and now available to the general public as part of G Suite, rolling chat out to all G Suite users over the next 7 days. Hangouts Chat was first announced at Google Cloud Next 2017, along with Hangouts Meet, which went public immediately, but Hangouts Chat was in preview for quite some time. Hangouts Chat now competes with Slack, Microsoft Teams, other similar projects, and Hangouts Chat is available on iOS, Android, and the web.
So we've got Hangouts that is in your Gmail where you can talk to people. You've got Hangouts Chat, which is for your G Suite business users where you can talk to people. You've got Allo and Duo where you can talk to people. And you have Hangouts on Air where you can talk to people. Am I missing anything?
Well, for most of the people I use Hangout technology, if you want to call it that, it's either like we're doing right now with video and using Hangouts on Air, or I'm chatting with friends via text through a Gmail client or something like that.
Oh, right. I forgot Android's Messenger app.
Oh, right. That's the other one. I think they've missed an opportunity to call this something that makes sense, like Hangouts Plan or something else besides chat,
or maybe something else besides Hangouts.
Yeah, it's weird branding. I'm not,
because honestly, this doesn't make me roll my eyes if it's just called, Google G Suite Chat or G Suite Collab or something like that.
Ooh,
Putting Hangouts on it is the part that confuses me. It does. I get where you want to extend a brand name, but anyway, did you try it out?
So I went to go. I thought, you know what? I've put this off long enough. I should just sign up for G Suite and then get into this and see what's up. I forgot G Suite costs money. Not that it's not worth it, but I don't have any friends using it. So this $5 per user per month thing is kind of like basically Slack premium is the cost of it. So I didn't finish the sign up process because I didn't quite get that far. But I'm interested. I want to see what Google's Slack competitor is. I'm very interested in that space and who's doing things better or different. And they seem to have kind of hidden it behind some stuff that I can't get through. And I really hate the name, but we'll see. Someone will write. They love it and it'll be fun.
It reminds me of Microsoft Teams in that if you're already in the Microsoft universe, this is just something you're going to take advantage of because it's there, and maybe that'll keep you from trying Slack. Slack's not part of something else, so they need to make it available for everybody, whereas Google's like, we don't need free users. We need paying users, and G Suite users are there. We'll give this to them. They'll use it. Yeah,
and I'm just saying chat is a bad name. Team is good. Slack is good. Short, easy to say. Hey, did you see the notes I left in Team? Yeah, oh yeah, I got those. No worries. The other thing I put in the Slack, Discord, whatever, it all makes sense. You know what he says? Did you see the stuff I left in Hangouts Chat?
They will.
It's an awful name. Anyway, moving on. Twitter has publicly launched its bookmarks feature, and it caught me off guard. So I'm glad that we're talking about it today. I knew there was something weird with the UI, and I couldn't figure out what until we started digging deeper. Anyway, this has been in testing since last year. Rather than publicly having to press a heart icon on a story about a tsunami or a famine, you can now privately save it and read it later. The idea behind most bookmarks. The bookmark option is bundled in, and sending a tweet via DM and sharing a tweet is in the new same share icon. It's like a little up button thing to the right. Bookmarks now have their own section in the profile as well. I tested this today. Seems to work fine. I don't know how often I'll use it. Maybe more than I think when I'm gathering stories for my morning show or something. But as it stands right now, it's not going to affect me much. But, hopefully people find uses for it.
The other day, a friend of mine was like, oh, I had this tweet, a couple years ago that was like super funny. And I was like, link me to that. And he was like, how am I even going to find that? Like the search doesn't work. So in this sense, bookmarking would be helpful. I don't really know what it would be useful for beyond putting people in groups. Tom, I know you do that already.
Yeah, well, no, I think what this is for is apparently something that none of the three of us do, but a lot of people on Twitter do, which is use it as a reader, use it as a news feed. And they say, oh, you know what? I want to read that story, but I don't have time right now. And then their choice is to copy and paste the link or bookmark it in their browser or favorite it, which means clicking the heart button, which, as Scott mentioned, is kind of weird if it's a story about a famine and suddenly that's public and it says, Tom Merritt just, put a little heart next to the story about 500,000 people dying in an explosion, or whatever. So this is a much better tool for that, for people who are like, no, I just want to save something to read later. I don't need to tell the world about it. I just need to have it somewhere it's easily accessible.
There you go.
Yeah. Scientists at MIT created a robot called AutoSaw that can assist with carpentry to make custom furniture and make it safer because the robot's doing the cutting, not you with your thumbs. Also could make it cheaper and easier. You can select a template and adjust things like size and shape. Semi-autonomous robots will then pick up and saw the materials you need. Now, it doesn't work like you just thought by the way I said that. You have to assemble the final piece yourself. So far, there are only 4 design templates with a limited number of customizations. And you also have to lay things out for the robots. You have to put the boards in a particular place so that they know where to go get them. In the video that they show, they're on a sawhorse. So it goes over and knows, okay, there's the board. I will take it over here. So it's really about letting the robot cut it with minimal supervision. It's not totally autonomous or anything like that. Also, for instance, the Jigsaw, which is just a modified programmable Roomba, that iRobot Create thing, you have to pick it up and put it on the board. It can't get up there itself. So with all those caveats, though, this is pretty cool because, again, saves your fingers from being near those blades.
So I sent a message out to Mark Spagnuolo before the show, just trying to get his quick take on this. I sadly did not get a response, but I really want to know what professional woodworkers like him think of, let's call it the encroachment or the potential of the encroachment of automation to their world. So far, 3D printing has disrupted all sorts of industries, potentially anyway. We haven't maybe seen the full impact of that, but I'm really curious what folks like him would have to say about something that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you and leaving you just to assemble. And one would think that one day it might assemble also. So pretty trippy technology, and I think it's pretty neat. But I'm really curious what he would have to say.
There were some other MIT researchers who created a robot that assembled IKEA furniture. So I feel like those robots ought to meet each other.
Get together.
Yeah.
To get all the tech headlines each day, subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. 5 minutes or less, everybody. I did it today. I'll do it tomorrow and even Friday. All right, let's talk about the idea of municipal governments working with tech companies without us knowing. Okay, so The Verge reports that one of the tools used by the New Orleans Police Department to identify members of gangs, among other things, came from Silicon Valley data mining company Palantir, which provided software to an NOPD, that's the New Orleans Police Department, program that traced people's ties to other gang members, criminal histories, social media activity, and predictions of when they might either commit crimes or be the victims of crimes. A source says that the government turned over more than 60,000 pages of documents detailing evidence gathered against an individual who will not be named, but you get it, for confidential informants, ballistics, other sources. However, nothing was ever mentioned about the partnership with Palantir, which began in 2012, supposedly. City council members and attorneys contacted by The Verge said they had no idea that the city had any sort of relationship with this company. How much does that give you pause?
Yeah, so the main question is, why wasn't this public knowledge? And this can tie into court cases. If evidence is gathered using a tool, as part of discovery, you have to tell the defendant that you used this tool to gather the evidence. So that's not happening. That could be a problem. It's kind of murky, but that could be a problem. But also there's just the general knowledge of, hey, we're scanning your social media posts, everything you post on Twitter publicly. We're taking that, we're cross-reference it against our fingerprints and case records. We're pushing the cops to fill out all of these field reports and cards to make sure we get as much information on you as possible. And then we're running Palantir software over it to do crime prevention. Like, as a citizen of New Orleans, I would want to know that they were doing that, not because I want to escape from crime, but because you would just want to know if you're being surveilled and why, and whether it's worth the surveillance as a voter for that mayor. So there's that. The other question, though, is a lot about predictive crime and whether it's actually working. Does the system actually prevent crime? Does it help the victims of crime to recover faster or avoid being victims in the future? And the biggest question is, does it have a risk for bias? And generally, the answers are either we don't know or yes, it absolutely has a risk for bias.
Yeah, and there's also no way to know, or let's put it this way. There's no way to fully investigate those bias chances or the effectiveness of the thing without figuring out a way to have an applicable test or to be able to do it, gather the data, see if it worked or not. So if we think it's worth it at all, I'm kind of all for this, to be honest. I love this idea that this kind of data could contribute in this way. And I also would like to know what biases exist, or could it unearth some biases I can't think of. My only problem with any of this is they didn't tell anybody. That's it. Like, the rest of it is kind of interesting. There's a science angle, and sure, you could say, there's too much surveillance in our lives. Forget it. We don't want another one. And you just vote it out without thinking much about it. I think the future is tied up in this sort of thing, but it has to come along with me being notified. Like you said, I just want to know that I'm being watched, followed, tracked, used in this way. And then it's fine. I don't care then. Then we can find out if it's going to work.
Well, and we talk a lot about like the problems with algorithms on the show. And, the idea that there would be so much data, let's say like, I have a history of all sorts of things that tells the New Orleans Police Department and, with Palantir software that like, I'm really likely to commit another crime. But will I? You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
yeah.
It's like,
I'm with you to a point, Scott, in that I don't think we shouldn't use this kind of data, but I think we need to do a lot of testing and refinement before we act on this kind of data. So I have a little more problem than just they weren't telling everyone. Palantir is a very murky company co-founded by and co-owned by Peter Thiel, has CIA contracts, so there's a lot of secrecy around what it does. But to me, we need to get better at these algorithms before we put them into place. And that was a problem in Chicago, not with a Palantir system, but with a similar system. And it looks like it was also a problem in New Orleans in that it's not provable that it had an effect. There was a crime reduction in New Orleans, but it doesn't seem to be related to the use of the Palantir data. Nicholas Corsaro and Robin Engel are two University of Cincinnati professors who designed the gang database that provided a lot of the data that Palantir used and conducted an evaluation of the violence reduction strategy in New Orleans. And Corsaro said, trying to predict who's going to do what based on last year's data is just horse shit. That's a direct quote from him. So we have to have good data, and you have to have a good algorithm. And that's the other problem is the data. Because police record crime unevenly through a city, the patterns of recorded crime may differ from the true pattern of crime, right? Police aren't charged with being great data collectors. They're charged with doing their job, and they collect some data as a coincidence of that. So the pattern the algorithm is likely to learn from is that most crimes occur in overrepresented locations. You don't send the police out to low crime areas, you send them to high crime areas. So high crime areas are going to be overrepresented, and that starts a vicious cycle where the police are sent to a high crime area, they gather the data, the algorithm says, we'll send more police to the high crime area, they gather more data, and it starts to believe that those locations need to be more heavily policed when it's been shown that sometimes over-policing can cause more problems than it helps.
I should probably amend my position a little bit. I actually agree with you 100% on it's one thing to not be told. It's another thing to even know if it works at all, to have some of the testing, let's call it alpha testing, happen before it ever gets used in the street. It's easy for me to say, oh, this is cool with me because I happen to have 0 criminal records. So what about the guy who's got 1 infraction but has worked?
Or what if you have a 0 criminal record, but you live in the high crime area that's over policed, and suddenly you're running up against stuff and getting asked questions and getting harassed.
Yeah. Plus, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. New Orleans is known for a history of some corruption in the past, provable corruption, like stuff in court. So it's also your petri dish that you're using isn't necessarily the most neutral petri dish you could choose. So yeah, you're 100% right. There's just something to this that I like in theory. It's the practice that's really where the rubber meets the road, and the rubber ain't meeting the road very well right now. And if you're not telling anybody, it's really not meeting the road. So yeah, either way, they screwed this up no matter what, I think. But I'd love to get to a place where we can find data that is just irrefutable. And as I say it, I realize this is nearly impossible to have irrefutable data on any side of any issue. But I just long for that utopian ideal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but I don't think it's as easy as, oh, I don't know, maybe Palantir would like you to think. Remember, they didn't charge New Orleans for this because what they wanted to do was take what they learned in New Orleans, speaking of a petri dish, and pitch it to other communities to say, hey, we did this thing in New Orleans. We did it for free for them to prove that we could do it, but wouldn't you like to pay us to do it? And it's questionable whether it was effective yet. I think it needs more work and needs more transparency.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what it comes down to. Because I will say, Scott, like the idea of quality data, an algorithm isn't a bad word, folks. An algorithm is just an algorithm. If you get a good one that can tell you like, hey, these are the places that you need to make sure you're patrolling. Don't harass people. Don't assume guilt where it isn't. Let's use it to help people too. That was another problem in both Chicago and New Orleans, is the carrot side of this didn't get used as much as the stick side of it. But if you can perfect that, it could be a great thing. Just having more knowledge of where to patrol, where to enforce the law is a good thing. It's just we need to perfect it first.
As Alan Moore once said, or reiterated, really, who watches the Watchmen?
Yes. Great episode of Star Trek. All right. Let's check the mailbag, Sarah.
Let's do it. This one comes from David, who says, the sun is out and it's turning all the snow into ice in Minnesota. So we were talking about Vero yesterday, which is sort of a Instagram, Facebook, who knows what alternative. It's sort of the hot new thing. So David says, the only reason I even heard about this before yesterday's show is because I'd logged into Twitter for the first time in a while, and one of the influencers I follow at one point had been whining and complaining that the new way Facebook was doing its news feed was hurting their business because not as many people were seeing their posts. Well, I mean, they wouldn't be alone in that. And they were going to this other app called Vero, and people should check them out. Chris Hardwick, Nerdist, even promoted it on Talking Dead last week. I believe that's why there was a sudden upswing in the use of Vero. He goes on to explain a little bit more, but I wonder how much that, very obviously influential influencer spiked the numbers.
That would make a lot of sense. And it could be not just Chris, but there's a brewing number of influencers starting to talk about Vero, and that catches Chris's eye, and so then he mentions it, and that's how the network effect works, right? Exactly. It just gets broadcast farther and farther.
Sometimes it just takes so long. What was it? I know you guys talked about this at length yesterday, but 2015 the app launched, and we're just now starting to have everybody freak out and talk about it.
Yeah, which is always like it's obviously like a marketing thing on some level,
Well, or just a natural thing where somebody was finally frustrated with Instagram and went looking around and was like, well, this app's been around for a couple of years. Maybe I'll just start using this. Starts telling people, they tell two friends, they tell two friends, they tell Chris Hardwick, and he mentions it on Talking Dead, and the rest is history. Also, David also wondered how they're going to make money in the future, and maybe we didn't make this clear, but two ways. One is they will eventually charge people. So if you get in as one of the first million, supposedly you'll never have to pay, but they'll eventually charge a subscription fee, and they plan to have product links. So there will be a referral fee for brands to push their wares. I could see this playing into the movie or TV area of like if you say, "Oh, I watched this movie," there might be a link to buy it on a digital subscription or something like that. Hey, hat tip to Allie Winston from The Verge, by the way, for the great reporting on Palantir. That we used that article that Allie did as the basis of our discussion. So we always like to give credit where credit is due. If you haven't read it, it is a wonderful piece of journalism. Go check it out. We'll have a link in the show notes.
Speaking of credit, Scott Johnson, we could not do Wednesday show without you. Tell us what's been going on the last week.
Well, let's see. What do I give my credit? Or how do I spend my credit here? Let's see. The best thing to do,
cash.
if you want to follow all my goings on and projects and things, go check it out at frogpants.com. There's a lot going on. Sometimes I think, what should I talk about on DTNS to sort of throw somebody's focus in a certain direction? But there really is no focus. There's tons of stuff going on, and there's always something for somebody. You like D&D? We got a show for that. You like morning shows? I got a show for that. You like video games? I got multiple shows for that. So go check it out. Frogpants.com is the place. And even if you just like artwork and illustration and comics and cartoons, there's stuff for that. Scott Johnson on Twitter as well. You can follow me there.
Excellent. Thanks to you guys, we have, at least at this point, hit our goal of at least one patron more than last month. So huge thanks for that. That is our monthly goal. We have other goals too. We'd like, if you've been liking those roundtable shows, and I know Allison Sheridan wrote in and was like saying she really just enjoyed the conversations that we had. We've got a space themed roundtable coming up at the end of March. And if you want more of those, support us. And thanks to everybody who already supports us at patreon.com/DTNS.
If you have questions, comments, feedback, anything, our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC. And if you want to find out more, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
And now the name.
Oh, uno more. Hold on.
You got Roger.
All right. Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. Minority Report in New Orleans. Oh, New Orleans precogs. I like that.
New Orleans precogs. The tabled motion is to name the episode New Orleans precogs.
Actually, I think that's all right.
There's also a New Orleans pre-crime unit, and of course the New York. Does Palantir mean precog? I mean, granted, if you don't know, Minority Report refers to
Or Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, well, that one. Yeah, the one Lord of the Rings.
More
reference in the
carrot,
title.
less stick. More carrot, less stick.
Why don't we just give them a carrot stick? That way we can feed and whack them, depending on how we feel. Right?
Mobster are going to whack them.
Yeah. Let's not say that.
Why ever not, Tom?
I don't know. Why? What's wrong with me?
Why are you being so square?
Really trying to stop myself from saying something, really, because what's going on? It's all self-loathing over here. Back to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Tom.
So Minority Report in New Orleans.
Is that your fave?
I like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
I'm-
it does describe. I mean, granted, it uses pop culture. The discussion.
The floor is open for comments on Minority Report in New Orleans is the title of today's episode.
I like it.
There's some sensitivity in New Orleans about actual minorities, so I don't know if that'll cause anyone any consternation. But
I hadn't thought about that.
Well, in a
Actually, yes, Roger, I think you might be about to say what I was going to say.
Well, no, I mean that was part of what I was thinking. Is that,
Yeah.
like it as targeting racialized and minority groups.
Yeah,
It covers both. I think in a very good
Yeah. No, rather than being a negative, I think that might be a positive, Scott, in that we didn't discuss racial profiling directly in the show, but that is one of the implications of this. Is those high crime areas often tend to be minority inhabited areas, so it is a minority report of a kind as well. It sort of works in both ways.
I think I agree. Make a good argument.
There's agreement.
Going once, Minority Report New Orleans. Motion carried.
We have little wooden balls that tell you who did it.
Ah, damn it. Wooden balls who tell you who did it would be a great title, too.
It would be. It's always raining, that movie.
Yeah, it was raining a lot. That was just a style choice, I get. Hey, Roger Chang, I'm taking over the post.
Yes.
Didn't think you'd mind. Good work, Mojam. Picking that title. I see you, Mojam. Picking that title.
Mojam.
Sam!
What's going on with your cats? You keep yelling at your cats.
It's
Sam,
just
I
him.
am.
He's been howling this entire episode. You guys didn't hear him?
No.
No.
He's in the hallway.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh,
we
I
haven't
thought
heard
that
it.
was just trash pickup or something.
No, it's my
No.
cat.
I haven't heard it.
My own cat. Hold on. Let me bring it.
Let's have a chat, cat.
You know, that was one of the first Dr. Seuss books.
Let's have a chat, cat.
Let's have a Chad cat.
No. I wish.
Roger, you keep getting lower and lower.
How is it getting lower and lower?
I don't know if you're just leaning too far away or what.
I mean, I'm leaning as far as I normally do. What if I move the mic here? How's that?
That's good right
Yeah?
now. Yeah.
Now, if I keep talking about something, does it slowly go away?
Yep.
How about here?
That's still low.
No? Talking.
There you go. That's good.
Okay, right on top of the mic. Hello. Never had to be this close before.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying.
Just saying. Let me see.
Uh-oh. There's a serious talk going on with this cat.
How do you expect to finish college?
When you're a cat. Cats can't even go to college.
They don't have opposable digits. How are they going to write anything?
Thank you for saying opposable digits. Not all opposable digits are thumbs.
True.
Pandas don't have thumbs. They have an opposable bone
Yeah, right.
on their paw.
Pandas?
Huh?
Pandas do?
Yeah, they
Hello,
don't have a
Sam.
thumb, but they have a bone that's part of their palm that sticks out that functions as an opposable digit, but it doesn't have the same range of motion as a thumb.
So Sam just wanted to be on camera, it seems like.
Right. Yeah. Now that he's on camera, he's just sort of drooling and not saying anything. What is all this about?
Like,
Little
I'm fine.
nut?
Fine now. Just wanted to see what you're doing.
I wanted a donut too.
Yeah, pandas have 5 fingers and a false thumb.
Yep.
Weird.
How do you think they hold on to the bamboo?
Hold on. What's a false thumb?
It's like a little. It's like I don't know.
A non-opposable thumb?
Yeah, it's like
Well,
it's like
yeah.
Tom's tail. He doesn't need it.
Well, they need it, but it
That was told
opposes
you in
their
confidence.
other 5 digits, but it doesn't work with the same flexibility and range of motion as a human thumb would.
Yeah,
but
it could
they
never
use it to-
it could never actually form a government. It was always in opposition.
It could never hold a screwdriver. You know, like,
It couldn't
and
hold
then
a candle to a real thumb.
It would not be able to find
it.
work as a carpenter, plumber, electrician.
could use the robot
Want to talk to those nice people about why you were crying so much earlier?
Nope. Good now. Just wanted to see what you're doing.
Yeah, he's like, no, you're holding me. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted.
Just wanted attention of any kind. Even
All that
this.
attention.
Kids are the same way. So
Why were you
spoiled.
crying? Just wanted attention.
No, she does. My kid does that all the time. It's like, why are you whining? And then I hold her. She's fine. It's like, I'm not your parent. Oh wait, I am your parent.
Yeah. Like, what am I, like, responsible for you?
Stop acting like a bayo, right?
Right.
What do you need? Emotional comfort and security? Listen, I
Talk
don't
to
even
your
have
father, all right? That's me.
that. Listen, kid, your dad doesn't
See?
even have that. How
See?
do you expect him to shower that on you? My life.
These cats, man. I'm gonna put them out on the street.
No, you won't.
No, I
Should-
won't. No.
Should put him in like not a circus, but like a stage show. There was a so
A stage show, like
So-
a sideshow.
Patrick's wife.
No, like a
Once-
production of Cats.
Well, no, she
With
showed
cats.
me. She showed me a video online. I forget, but it's this French guy who lives in Florida. He immigrated like back in the 70s or something, but he has a little kind of like a lion taming or tiger taming show where they do all the acrobats, but they're all house cats.
That's
And
a
he did it-
circus.
Yeah, a circus. Well, circus is other things, but that particular aspect of a circus.
Sure.
And he has, but the whole thing is it's done with house cats, and he's made enough over the decades doing that act on a sidewalk somewhere out in Miami or somewhere else in Florida
Bienvenidos,
to put his kids through college.
Tom had.
Yeah, it's better.
Oh, sorry, it's loud.
Whoa.
What was that?
Oh, now it's you too. Come on in, Luz. Good grief.
Loose caboose.
Hey, come on
I
in.
should have went to that donut
You
store.
want to be on
I
camera
walked
too?
by it.
Come on. Come on. Both of you. Very in.
Anybody listening to our post show for the first time is like, what is with this mass insanity?
Who are all these people coming into the room?
Talking about
They're
donuts.
cats.
Somebody's singing Will Smith songs. They're cats.
Lucy, no.
So,
Don't do
something
that.
about
Hey.
Florida cat show.
Florida Cat Show.
Oh, let me see if I can
Unexplained
find it.
loud noises.
And that
I
was
don't understand.
Cat show, French guy.
Sam's like,
see.
oh, I'm so happy.
Oh yeah, Dominique Lafort is his name. Key West's Catman. That's his name.
Oh my gosh. I need to meet
Cirque
him.
de Chat.
Maybe a DTNS Labs.
Tom
First,
had.
it's about time it disappears. No
Sam,
filming.
you feeling better? Okay. Run along now. Run along, kitten. Bye-bye.
Fly away home.
Lafort, a Frenchman
How
known
do
to
people
many
have
as
actual
Catman.
children?
Roger, Scott.
You can't hear my kid? What do you
Sarah has a
mean?
question for you.
I
They-
just don't know how people have actual
Oh no,
children.
my daughter was calling at me through the door.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
You know how you live with kids and spend
No.
money and resources? It's with the objective of when I'm old and somewhat not as spry that I have someone to kind of look after me.
Yeah.
Even
That
if
you
I'm
have
in an
someone
old
to be
folks home.
angry at for not looking after you.
Right.
I just need someone to make sure when they give my meds at Shady Acres
Look,
that it's the right meds.
I almost have a full Overwatch team because I had kids. I'll play Overwatch together. So it worked out. In the end, that was the goal.
That was it. That was it all along. You're like, someday Blizzard will invent a game.
Actually,
I don't know what it'll be called, but I'll need
that
5
epiphany-
kids
that-
to play it.
The epiphany came when I forgot my phone and I asked Ellie, "Go get Daddy's phone." She said, "Okay," and she ran across the other end of the house to get it.
And you're like, tasks. She
I
can
know.
do tasks.
Amazing, and that opposable thumb comes in real handy grabbing my phone. Not like those pandas. Gotta put it in.
Did you go?
Panda.
Are you editing the post now?
No, I am not editing the post.
It went back to saying you're editing the post.
Why does it keep saying that?
I don't know.
That's weird. I clicked out of it. I should be in the. Just the root of the post. Like
The root of the post.
Let me double check. Do 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 do. Nope. Do 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 do.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've
Oh,
enjoyed.
Anthony Lemos is currently editing.
Okay, good. I wanted to make sure he could get in there. Doing the show notes. Thank you, Amos.
Famous Amos cookies. I need some of those.
Famous Amos show notes is what's happening on our blog.
I'm not sure why Famous Amos cookies are as good as they are.
They're not. They're not.
They are.
They are though. They're very
They're really
unassuming.
good.
No, they're not that
I
good.
I
I've
was
never liked
introduced to
Huh.
Famous Amos through a vending machine because
Yeah,
I was
me
really
too.
hungry.
Everybody's like, "Oh, you got to try the." I'm like, They're dry and crumbly. Why do you
They
like them?
are dry.
Yeah,
I-
and they
I
are crumbly.
I am the person who doesn't like In-N-Out in this situation. I get it.
You know, you and my wife should get married because my wife doesn't know what the hubbub.
Well, that would be problematic.
That would be problematic for many reasons.
Yeah, that's probably not the solution to the famous Amos discrepancy here.
I'm guessing you're right.
But, keep your options open. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I love
Fine.
them.
Do you like
I
Mrs.
love-
Fields cookies?
Yes, I do like Mrs. Fields.
I mean,
She's from Utah. I didn't realize
Where
that.
would I ever get them?
She's a Park City, Utah lady.
Yeah, she got
They're,
divorced
you
and
get
started
those
a
in vending
cookie
machines
empire.
too.
Very rich.
They had them at the Tech TV vending machine, the Mrs. Fields.
No, you have to.
don't remember
I got those frozen ones where you bake in the oven. They're all right.
Oh, wow. No, I'm thinking of the ones that are like 2 oatmeal raisin in a plastic bag.
No.
What? What do you mean no?
Oatmeal raisin.
Kind of a
Why would
cinnamony
you take a
taste.
bowl of
I
oatmeal
love
and turn it into
oatmeal
a
raisin cookies.
Thank you,
Who
Sarah
is
Payne.
talking bad about oatmeal raisin cookies?
Semi-sweet chocolate only, all right?
Maybe you should marry your wife.
Yeah. Then you guys would get
Yeah. Why don't you just
And then
marry
we'll
your
have a
wife,
kid.
Roger? Ugh.
It'd be so complicated. And then what about the kids? Or kid? I would have to divorce my wife and then remarry her?
I'd like you to meet your new parents, us, your old parents. Okay, enough of this silliness. Thank you for watching.
And any last words from our cavalcade of contributors and co-hosts?
No.
All right. See ya next
Cut me
time,
off.
which is tomorrow with Justin Orban Young.